You blew over the legal limit, and now the state's acting like that breath test is the smoking gun. But here's the thing. That machine, it's basically a black box with a drinking problem. One glitch, one calibration error, one lazy operator, and suddenly your future is riding on junk science. I'm Barret Dye. I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Texas, and I've seen breath test results fall apart in court more times than I can count. In this video, I'll show you how these machines really work, how they fail, and how we turn that against the prosecution, so you don't get railroaded by a number that never should have held up in the first place. Let's get right to it. A lot of people think that if they blew over the legal limit, the case is over, like the machine spoke, and that's the end of the story. But that's not how this works. Breath tests are machines run by humans. Machines malfunction, humans cut corners, and the result is only as reliable as the process behind it. Your job in a DWI breath test case is simple. Don't argue with the number. Force the state to prove the number is trustworthy. How breathalyzers work and where they fail. Breath machines don't actually measure your blood. They measure alcohol in your breath. Then they use a formula to estimate what your blood alcohol concentration might be. That estimation depends on assumptions the machine makes about the human body. It also depends on the machine being maintained correctly, operated correctly, and used under the right conditions. So when the state holds up that printout like it's the gospel, my response is always the same. Show me the maintenance. Show me the operator's training. Show me the observation period. Show me the video. And show me the paperwork. Because if any of that is sloppy, the result can be wrong. And wrong is reasonable doubt. Before we ever talk about the breath tests, we look at why you were pulled over. In Texas, officers can't stop you on a hunch. They need a lawful reason. And if the stop wasn't legal, that's not a technicality. That's the Constitution. Because if the stop falls apart, everything that comes after it can become unusable. Field tests, statements, and yes, breath test results. I've had cases where the officer claimed weaving or a traffic violation, and the dash cam showed clean driving. Once we proved that stop wasn't justified, the case changed instantly. So we start at the beginning. If the foundation is illegal, the whole case is vulnerable. Here's a rule most people never hear about until it's too late. Before a breath test, officers are supposed to observe you for a set period of time to make sure you don't burp, belch, vomit, chew, smoke, or put anything in your mouth, because those things can contaminate a breath sample and inflate the number. In real life, officers often say they did it, but video tells the truth. If they were filling out paperwork, looking at a computer, stepping out of the room, talking to someone else down the hall, or bouncing between tasks, that observation can be questionable. And when that observation is questionable, the breath test is questionable. That's leverage. Breath tests aren't just push a button and get a truth. Operators have procedures, steps, requirements, checklists. If they skip steps, rush the process, use the wrong instructions, or didn't follow protocol, we don't let the state gloss over it. Because when the person running the test isn't careful, the machine doesn't save them. It just prints a number. And juries need to understand that number is only as good as the person and process behind it. Now we talk about something the breath machine can't account for well. You. Breath tests can be affected by certain medical conditions and real-life factors. Acid reflux and GERD can introduce alcohol from the mouth or upper airway and contaminate the sample. Diabetes and other metabolic conditions can create breath chemicals that can confuse certain testing methods. Even something as simple as burping at the wrong time can matter. So part of a real defense is looking at your health history and your circumstances, then explaining to a jury why the number isn't automatically reliable. Not with excuses, with facts. This is where the breath test cases live or die, the records. We request the maintenance logs, the calibration history, the quality checks, the service records, the operator certifications. Because machines require upkeep, they require scheduled checks, and they generate a paper trail. If that paper trail shows mismaintenance, failed quality checks, sloppy logs, or expired certifications, the breath test becomes a lot less intimidating. And the closer the alleged result is to the legal limit, the more those small issues matter. Because a small error can be the difference between under and over. Police reports are written after the fact, and often in a way that supports an arrest. Video shows what happened. So we watch every second of body cam and dash cam and ask basic questions. Do you look impaired the way the report claims? Are you steady, coherent, Following directions? Does your behavior match the narrative? If the video doesn't match the story, the jury sees that. And when the jury doubts the story, they start doubting that number too. In many breath test cases, an independent expert can change everything. Not because the expert talks fancy, it's because they translate the machine into plain English. They explain contamination. They explain assumptions. They explain why procedure matters. They explain why breath testing can be unreliable in real-world conditions. And when the state is leaning hard on the breath result, experts help you push back with something powerful. Science that actually holds up. Not every case ends with a dramatic dismissal. Sometimes beating the case means forcing the state into a better outcome because they know their breath evidence won't survive a real fight. When prosecutors see you're ready to challenge the stop, the observation period, the procedures, and the machine records, the tone tends to change. Because they know a jury isn't going to convict based on a shaky number and a shaky process. That's when dismissals, reductions, and better plea terms become possible. And that's how you protect your future. A breath test is not a guaranteed conviction. Breath machines estimate. People make mistakes. Procedures get skipped. And records get sloppy. To fight a Texas DWI breath test case, you challenge the stop, you attack the observation and procedures, you dig into maintenance and certification records, you compare the report to the video, and when needed, you bring in an expert to expose the flaws. Because you don't lose just because a machine printed a number. You lose when you let that number go unchallenged. Now, if your DWI situation gets more serious, repeat offenses, enhancements, or you're looking at felony territory, you need to watch my next video. It's called Felony DWI in Texas, How to Beat Your Case. I break down the strategies that actually work, including how we attack prior convictions, suppress bad stops, and create real leverage to protect your freedom. Click over and watch that next video now. We'll see you over there.